have had in the past. And so my mama was really cool about it. She's really open-minded and very modern in her thinking. Papa, I think, although he didn't say anything, I knew he didn't like the idea. I knew he was not happy with my decision to have this relationship, because he was very happy when I had gotten married, and and especially to a Chinese family, and so I think Papa never. I don't. I still think he doesn't accept it today. We just don't talk about it, but he knows PO, and he knows that she's very good to me, but. I think he would prefer for me to have a regular relationship. I don't think Mama cares. She's just really cool, and she's happy that I'm happy.
Okay. So let's switch gears a little bit and talk about early memories. Okay.
Okay.
Are you comfortable? Let me check the water. Okay. Hold on. Let me switch gears.
All right.
All right.
That's a cute sweatshirt.
Oh, thanks. Okay. So, tell me about your earliest memory growing up.
I remember being. I remember growing. When I was little and living in Thailand. We had left Thailand when I was 6, so I do remember my early years here back in Thailand, and I remember having my own personal nanny taking me to school. And I remember the schools, with their nap time and everything else. Very, faded memories. But
Is there a particular memory, like a story?
I remember running around the house one day and hitting my head on the bottom of the stairs, because the stairs are such a way that you can go underneath the stairs, and just being almost knocked out. Actually, I was not, and they said I had, a seizure. But I remember dreaming that, having a very scary dream, and then when I woke up, I was in the hospital. So that's one thing that I remember, And I remember Satita drowning at our pool. Tatita is 3 years younger than me, and so she was, I think, 3 at the time. And we had a pool in the backyard, and I guess she wandered into the pool, and our nanny at that time was pregnant, I think 9 months. And when she fell in the pool, the nanny, being the wonderful nanny she is, she jumped into the pool, 9 months, to get Sutita out. And I remember that incident.
Wow.
As well. So that was weird, yeah.
I don't think Sutita remembers that.
No, she was like 3.
So, what are your impressions of your early childhood in Thailand?
In Thailand? The faded, I have very faded memories, but I remember always being around my nanny and being taken care of very well. And most of the time spending time with the nanny, not too much time with my parents. And I remember following Jack around quite a lot, and wanting to be just like my older brother.
When we moved to America, did you feel like you were around our parents more?
Yes, when we moved to the U.S., I was around my parents more, especially my mom. And but because Mama grew up in Thailand, she was, always served, and there was always service around her. So she didn't know how to cook or clean. And when we moved to the U.S., she really had a difficult time, I think. And so she had a sort of a contract, a verbal contract with my dad, that he would let her go back to Thailand every 3 months out of the year. So during those 3 months when she was gone, she would take the twins with her. But the 3 of us, Jack, me, and Tutita, would stay on with my dad, and we would go on, little small vacations, to like Chicago or Michigan to visit our relatives, and Papa took really good care of us during those 3 months, and took us to Knott's Berry Farm. I remember Knott's Berry Farm very well for some reason, and the twins were still very small, and so they were taken back to Thailand with my mom, and I'm sure my mom had nannies and maids looking after them, so she can have some independence and some time with her friends. She's very close to her friends, and so she likes spending time with her friends. I think sometimes much more than spending time with her kids.
What did you think about America when you first landed? Do you remember that?
I do. I remember always getting into fights. I was sort of like a tomboy when I was little because I was, I wanted to be so much more like my brother because he was 6 years older than me, and I really looked up to Jack. And so when I was my first year in the U.S., I remember that I couldn't understand what anybody said because everybody was speaking English, which is a foreign language to me. And
How old were you?
I was 6. I was in the first grade, and but we lived in a very, very unpleasant part of LA, where all of the kids that went to school there were mainly Hispanic and blacks. And
Where was this again?
this was in Wilton Place.
Is that Midtown?
That's close to, where would I say?
Koreatown?
Yeah, around Koreatown. So Papa and Mama had owned the entire apartment building, I think, and we kept one unit to live on. And every time I went to school, Papa or Mama would have to be called into the principal's office because I got into trouble because I would be punching some guy who would make fun of me, that I couldn't speak the language, and it was basically Mexican boys that would make fun of me.
Do you know Jack got into a lot of fights too for the same reason when he first?
I think I remember that, but I remember my fights a lot more. And I wasn't scared of anybody. I just was really pissed off, and I just fought. I punched out a lot of people, a lot of kids. I was really a tomboy then.
So, how about as you got older?
As I got older, I think we moved to Glendale, and not a very good part of Glendale. I think I went to Edison Elementary School and made a lot of friends, and were all mostly either Filipinos or Hispanic. And I thought I had a pretty normal and regular childhood. I didn't have too many friends, and I wasn't popular in school, and I wasn't a nerd. I really didn't have any strong qualities. I was just I was just there. So I wasn't really active in terms of activities in school or popular or anything else. I did play some sports, but I pretty much had a very low profile until I was about 13 or 14, and that's when I started working part-time. And I started working part-time since I was at that age, and ever since until I was 24, which is when I moved to Thailand, I've always been working at least 2 jobs and going to school at the same time, and always trying to make money. And I remember the first time that I made some money. I would, because I was 14, but I had a sort of like a special driver license for underage,
Workers permit.
and with a worker's permit or something. And so I drove down to Chinatown with Tita and Norton Nut and took them to a clams lunch with Chinese clams and black bean sauce. And we would order 2 dishes exactly the same, and we'd order rice because that's probably $12 was something that I could afford the most. And so we calculated how much I could afford, and I'd order and pay for the lunch. Because I always treated my sisters, not so much the Tita, but usually the twins, as they were my own kids. Because I think Mama was less of a mother in terms of, not because she wasn't a good mother, but she, I don't know why. I think she probably trusted me quite a bit with the twins, and so was okay with me, raising them and taking care of them. And so, yeah, I think one of the reasons why I